We're going to go ahead and start, and we do not want the meeting to be too lengthy because I know your time is precious, and we want to welcome you. I'm Jeanette Kelly, President of the Amarillo League of Women Voters. We have a dear friend who has been gone now for several years, but she said our motto should be, the League of Women Voters of Amarillo, where so few do so much. And that is true. Thank you. We recently conducted some voter registration drive where some of our members went to United on River Road in South Georgia, and we also had some members that went to Amigos. And at Amigos, they had several students from Caprock that helped pass out cards. We also delivered cards to several retirement centers because sometimes residents move in because, unfortunately, some of their residents have passed away. We do have several materials on the tables as you exit, and there's some brochures about the Amarillo College bond election. So you might want to pick up some of those on your way out. If you will please stand, we will have the pledges to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas pledge, and it's on your program. Have a little, some hints there. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you, and you may be seated. We want to thank all the candidates who made an appearance tonight. There have been a lot of forums, and I can understand that, that they feel that they should be at those forums, and it can be time-consuming. That's why we have a wonderful timekeeper, and she keeps track of things, and the candidates have learned to keep an eye out for her. And she is very good and experienced. I'm now going to turn the program over to our wonderful moderator, Melissa Denny. She is a relatively new member, but she has taken the ball and gone on with it. And so I'll turn the program now over to Melissa.
Welcome. So just to clarify what will happen tonight, each group of candidates will have introduction time, so they will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves. And then after that, we will have questions from the audience. So you have paper close to you or in front of you, and hopefully some pens close to you, and you may write questions. And we have runners who will bring the questions down here to 2 of our league members, Sue Howard and Catherine English. They will be screening questions. Really, the biggest rule is no personal questions. We want to keep to the issues. So they will screen the questions. Then what will happen is after the introductions, I will pose the question. If you want it to a specific person, you can put that on your piece of paper with the question, or if you would like it in general. We will have 10 minutes of question time for the group. And then if you will keep your responses, candidates, to a minute so that other people will have time to ask questions or to answer that particular question. Our timekeeper is another member of the League of Women Voters. She's right over here, Miss Ann Hicks, and so she's going to show you some signs. When you have a minute left, she will hold up that green minute sign. So don't make her stand up, okay? All right. Did we get the microphone down here for the candidates? Did someone get a microphone? Oh, okay. Let me go grab that one. So I don't have my paper. Who's first on the list? I think it's you. All right.
Good evening. My name is.
This is for, let me tell them really fast. This is for Amarillo Junior College District, and this is cumulative voting. If you look here in your program, if you received a program, or if you picked up a program, you can see that you will have a total of 3 votes that may be cast in any combination for the candidate or candidates of your choice. So first is David Woodburn.
Yeah. Good evening. My name is David Woodburn. I have a dental practice here in Amarillo. I have been on the board for 3 terms and enjoyed every minute of it. I have seen, let me back up and say, first of all, that I have a long legacy in my family of people that went to Amarillo College. My father and mother went there, and my siblings also attended Amarillo College, and I did. And so I want to mention that there have been during my tenure at Amarillo College, we've had 5 presidents. I've actually been involved in hiring 4 of them, and they have accomplished much. Dr. Stephen Jones was instrumental in bringing forth the $68 million bond issue that built a building in his name out on the West Campus. And Russell Larry Hart is our current president and has really done so much for Amarillo College. We have a very cohesive board that has been very supportive of Dr. Larry Hart's administration, and he has led us into national recognition with our receiving what's called the Bellwether Award for excellence, and also Lee Meyer Award, awarding us for our No Excuses program that addresses poverty and of our students at Amarillo College. And we have what's called I guess I'm done.
Thank you. And next we have Johnny Mize.
Good evening, I'm Johnny Mize, and I am a current board member on the Amarillo College Board of Regents. I want to tell you it's been an honor to serve the last 6 years the community of Amarillo, and I just truly consider it a privilege because I think we've accomplished much, as some of the things David has alluded to. I will tell you my experience is I moved here out of graduating from Texas Tech 37 years ago now. I worked at corporate systems for 25 years and was the CEO for the last 12. I've served on many boards throughout our community, so I have a lot of community experience, and I have a lot of board experience by serving on the boards of like First Bank Southwest, as well as on the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the Boy Scouts, and so forth. So I would just say that's offering some of my experience, but I want to tell you that some of the thing that I want you to understand is how important Amarillo College is to this community. When I first began this journey, I liked Amarillo College, and I thought I had a good understanding of what it meant to our community, but I've grown to love it, and I will tell you because I think that I understand even more now today what this college means to our community. It will actually help our community be able to have the skills we need for our workforce to bring in new jobs as well as to serve the existing jobs in our community. So I want you all to know that you couldn't be more proud of this college for what it's accomplished over the last 6 years, and I really look forward to what it's going to do for the next, well, more than 6 years. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. And now we have Paul Proffer.
Hi, my name is Paul Proffer. I have a local medical practice, and I'm also the current chair of the Board of Regents. I also want to thank the Amarillo League of Women Voters for this opportunity. I think it's critical that the candidates be able to address the voters so that they can make informed decisions. So thank you. Amarillo College has been very near and dear to me and my family for many years. My grandmother first attended Amarillo College right after it opened in 1929, so we've been here that long. Both of my parents attended Amarillo College, and my mom has worked for a while in the print shop. But it really wasn't until I attended Amarillo College that I realized what the caring culture of Amarillo College is like. I had an organic chemistry teacher that saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself, and she encouraged me to pursue medical school, and I'm forever indebted to both Dr. Peggy Alley for that and to Amarillo College. When I first came onto the board, we had significant areas of concern. The main one was financial. The state had continued to cut our appropriations, and we had to make tough decisions, but we did that, and we maintained our student success during that time, and Amarillo College is better off for that. So over the past few years, we've won many national awards, including, as David mentioned, the Bellwether Award, the Lee Meyer, which is the most prestigious community college award for addressing poverty and student success. But we're not finished. We have more to do. We want to improve our completion rates to 70%. We've doubled those in the past several years, but we want to continue to do that. We also want to make inroads with our, to produce jobs for our local community. We also want to make inroads into our African American community because that's an area where much work is needed. And so Amarillo College gave me an opportunity, and I want to make sure that everyone else has that. Thanks.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. So we have two questions right now. So the first question, and since Dr. Proffer, you have the microphone, I'll let you just start, go back down the other direction, all right? The question says, do you believe in the Second Amendment? We might give him a second to think.
The simple answer is yes.
Thank you.
Me too.
I believe in the Second Amendment.
All right. Okay. All right. So the second question is, if the AC bond issue passes, what are your recommendations for a place for Amarillo's senior citizens? You want me to repeat that? If the AC bond issue passes, what are your recommendations for a place for Amarillo's senior citizens?
Go ahead.
I think it's something we need to work out. I think this, we have no intention of abandoning the situation, and I know we've had discussions about it, and I know there's an ongoing discussion now.
Thank you.
Just continue on with that. I mean, this issue continues to be one, I think, for our whole community on not just the facility of where it's at, but how do we better serve our seniors? And so I do know that that was, in fact, contemplated. The strategic plan that has been commissioned by our Board of Regents was to really study our community needs, and that has been done, and I think a lot of good work has been done through community citizens coming together with over 250 people representing our community in being able to understand what are the needs. And seniors is just one of them. There are many, many needs, and that's what that bond is there to try to serve, prepare us not only for what we have today, but also to make sure we're prepared for the future.
During this master plan, our CFO has met with some of the leaders in the Amarillo Senior Citizen, and there are plans for renovations in certain areas. So that is something that we're definitely pursuing.
All right, I've gotten 3 more questions. So, what should or is AC doing to better prepare students for the workplace of the future?
Well, that's a great question. And one thing we're looking at jobs of the future, it's estimated that 50 to 60% of all of the future jobs are not even jobs at this time. We don't even know what those are. So it's very important that we keep up to date with those so that we can get ahead of the situation so that when we have companies that come to Amarillo, we have a trained workforce for them.
I would just add on to that from a standpoint of we have a really visionary president at our college right now, and I couldn't be more pleased with the selection of Dr. Russell Larry Hart. I think that you as a community should understand that, and just know that technology and technology jobs are on the forefront of his agenda. I know I've attended meetings of that with certain community leaders, and we are certainly aware of the need to improve our infrastructure around that particular area.
I would just go on to sing the praises of Dr. Larry Hart and what he's done for Amarillo College. We were recently mentioned in 2 articles in the Chronicle of continuing education, and one of them in particular addresses Larry Hart's passion for the poverty-stricken students that we have, and our ARC, which is an Advocacy Resource Center. And I know that's not exactly addressing the question, but he also is, and the board is very much dedicated to working with our community and our industries in Amarillo to make sure that we develop necessary structure to.
That was really good. All right.
We're
So the next
not going to
question
make
is,
you stand up.
The next question is, what is the dollar amount of property taxes in the revenue for Amarillo College? What is the dollar amount of property taxes in the revenue for Amarillo College?
I do not know. Either one of you know?
I can't give you the exact figure.
The tax rate is 20.7 cents, I think, today, and with the bond election, it will increase by 4 cents, so just under 25 cents. What I feel like is important, I don't know exactly what they're trying to understand in that particular question, but I think what's important is to understand what does that get for this community, and the additional tax dollars that we're asking for with our bond will do a lot of a tremendous amount of fixing our facilities and improving our facilities, upgrading our facilities to prepare us for the future. But I think it will also do a lot for preparing us for those technology jobs that we talked about. And so, not gonna make her stand up.
Is that our time, Ann? Is that our time? Do we have time for one more question? Oh, okay. Sorry. All right.
Nobody else got the answer.
We don't know the exact dollar.
Okay.
Oh.
Do you want? I was going to say, anybody have another answer? You want to move to the next question?
Add on to it?
No, as far as the dollar amount, I can get that for you, but I don't have that.
All right. So the last question I have is, 10 years ago, the Pre-Med Club and the Alternative Student Government Association was disbanded by the AC administration. If elected, will you correct those poor decisions? 10 years ago, the Pre-Med Club and the Alternative Student Government Association was disbanded by the AC administration. If elected, will you correct those poor decisions?
You said which club, I'm sorry?
The Pre-Med and the Alternative Student Government Association.
Well, I definitely have a passion for pre-med. I don't know all the circumstances around that. I'm happy to look at that and see what the circumstances were that caused that to change, because I think that's very important. But that'd have to be something I'd have to investigate and determine why. I haven't had anyone ask that in the last 8 years that I've been on the board.
again, it's way beyond whenever I came on the board, so I don't know anything about either of those decisions.
I like Dr. Proffer. I'm passionate about pre-med, pre-dent, and certainly wasn't even aware of what you're talking about, but it's certainly something all of us would consider if it comes before us. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, you get to get out. It's time. Perfect. That was perfect, y'all. All right, thank you. Oh, thank you very much. All right, so we'll have a change up here on the stage. If I could have the Amarillo Independent School District board member candidates join us up here. But it's in alphabetical order, so I don't know what y'all want to do. I don't know what you're
I'm gonna put another microphone in the mix and you can have two to share.
Thank you.
If y'all want to share both of these between everyone.
All right, so we're going to do the same thing. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to introduce themselves, and then we'll have 10 minutes of questioning. Just a reminder that in this is you have a total of 4 votes, which can be cast in any combination for the candidate or the candidates of your choice. And so, 3. Oh, what's wrong in here? Got it. Sorry, it's wrong in here. Got it. Sorry. I'm reading my paper down here. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with Kimberly Anderson.
Anderson. And I believe the first and most important consideration in any decision regarding education should be what's in the best interest of the children. And the people poised to best make those decisions are teachers. There are experts in instruction and in child development, and they're the people that actually know our children. And unfortunately, teacher voices haven't been considered in education policy making for a long time. And I believe that's a reason that we have some of the problems we have. So that is why I'm running. I am a teacher, and that is why I'm running. I am a lifelong Amarilloan. I grew up in Eastridge and went to Eastridge and Travis and graduated as salutatorian of the Powell High School class of 1999. I have 2 sons with my husband, John, who attend AISD schools. I've been on several PTA boards. I'm on the College Success Initiative board, and I'm just an advocate for public education, but I am a teacher. I taught first grade and kindergarten at Oakdale before I became a mother, and now both of my boys are in school, so I am teaching kindergarten as a long-term sub in AISD. And so I'm respectfully asking you to consider giving me 1, 2, or all 3 of your votes for the Board of Trustees, because it would be a great honor for me to give a voice to the teachers in this district and ensure that every single student has an advocate on the Board of Trustees.
All right, thank you. And Johnny Betancourt.
Good evening. My name is John Betancourt, and it is a blessing to be here with all of you this evening. I am a product of Amarillo Independent School District, graduate of Caprock High School of class of 1993. Do we have any teachers in the audience? Any educators? Thank you, everybody. Now, I say I am a product of Amarillo ISD, which means I'm a stakeholder, just like everybody is a stakeholder in this room. And to me, that speaks volumes to the amount of people that we have in here because you actually care. And so it's been a great honor and a privilege to represent you, the students and staff of this district, as a current member of the Board of Trustees. And I humbly ask for your support in my re-election campaign and ask for 3 votes, or 1 or 2, or all 3. something that's really important to me is early childhood education and literacy. And to me, that sets the foundation of our students and the success of where our students are going to be beyond high school for life and success. And so in that, I want to ensure that we focus our programming and our policies and our procedures with the best interest for our students and for our staff. And part of that is making certain that our children are reading at grade level and that we set them up with a foundation to where they are college ready, career ready, or military ready. Again, my name is John Betancourt, and I humbly ask for your support in my re-election campaign and cast all 3 votes for me.
Thank you. All right, Alonzo Everhart.
Hi, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm Alonzo Everhart. I am not from Amarillo. I got here as quick as I could way back in 1989. I was in the United States Navy. I'm a veteran, 13-year veteran. I'm a senior director. I just newly been appointed the senior director of weapons operations at the Pantex plant. I right now lead on a daily basis about 600 employees or more. My skill set is to bring people together, opposing sides. I'm really good at that. That is what actually earned me this position. My lovely wife and I, who's in the back here, we have 3 wonderful kids. Something unique about me is the fact that all 3 of my kids are all going to graduate from all 4 of the three of the 4 high schools that make up AISD. My oldest child graduated from Paul Durham High School. My lovely daughter actually graduated from Amarillo High School. She's a senior at Texas Tech. Go Red Raiders. And she's majoring in biology and chemistry. My baby son is major, and he's actually graduating from Tascosa. He's a freshman right now. So again, I think the most important thing is for us to get back to the basics. Most important thing is making sure not only the students, but the teachers, as well as the principals, all have a voice, and that we make sure that we allow them to lead these campuses. We're hiring smart people. Let smart people lead us. You know, I have a saying, and I believe strongly in this, that you hire smart people to tell you what to do. You don't hire smart people to tell them what to do. Thank you again. My name is Alonzo Everhart. Appreciate it.
All right, Dick Ford.
Test. Yeah, it's on. My name is Dick Ford. This is the first time I've ever run for anything, and this is an all-new experience for me. I grew up in Amarillo, went to the schools here in Amarillo, raised my kids here. They both went to schools here in Amarillo. My grandkids went to schools here in Amarillo. My mother was a teacher here in Amarillo. I've been in the real estate business in the early 80s. I've been in the construction, investments, anything that involves real estate. We've also been involved with financing. So I've got a pretty good background in business. We've handled a lot of issues over the last 35 years. Probably done as much or more construction than anyone that's been on the board in some time. With all the big bond coming up, I think I'd be a big asset to the board with all the construction experience I have and real estate experience I have. After I got out of high school, I went to the Navy and was in the Seabees for a while, and then got out and went to college at WT, got my degree in business finance and public administration, and then went into real estate. I've been involved with kids. You know, my passion are the kids, and coached Kids Inc. forever. I've been involved with the CASA as a CASA representative for a while, and then I was involved with the Arrow Ministries when they were building there. We just completed 2 residential treatment centers out on Pullman Road for the kids that are taken out of the homes with CPS and the hard to handle, if you will. Up until recently, all the hard to handle kids were sent down to Houston. But now we've got these 2 facilities here. There's just a lot of things that I think I can do. You know, the teachers, the only reason we have an independent school district is to educate the kids. And I think we need to work on our communication from the teachers to the administration to the board. The board makes policy, but they can't make policy unless they know what the teachers really need. And I think I'd be good at getting an open policy to where the teachers feel free and comfortable in bringing their needs to the administration. Thank you for your time, and thanks for your vote.
Aaron Ladd.
Hi, my name is Aaron Ladd. I was born in Amarillo. We moved away when I was younger, but my parents both went to Tascosa and went through the junior high or middle school system when they were younger. And I was excited to be able to move back. I think one of the big advantages I might have in this race is I get to talk to a teacher every day. My wife is a teacher. She teaches 4th grade at Windsor Elementary School. And in addition to that, I'm a business owner. And I think that combination of things creates a nice opportunity when you're trying to consider the needs of teachers and students, as well as run a $300 million corporation. That's what the independent school district is. And so that's kind of where I think I fit into all of this. I also have 2 young sons. I have twin boys. They're 10 years old. They also attend Sleepy Hollow Elementary School. And just as Dick was saying, this is about the kids. This is about ensuring that our children can start out at a young age and have a satisfactory, good educational experience all the way through their high school career. And that's not just for my kids, that's for everybody's kids. Our kids in other, I see it. The kids from disadvantaged neighborhoods. One of the things that strikes me is that when a lot of these children that start out in these disadvantaged neighborhoods, a lot of times start out at a 2 to 3 year disadvantage grade level wise from kids that are starting out in kindergarten in other parts of the town. So I think one of the great things we could do is start an initiative to try to close that gap so our kids are all starting out at the same place. And I think if we can accomplish that, we'll end up having everybody graduate at a higher level, go on to trades or college or military, whatever it is, a higher level, coming back to Amarillo and creating a better economy overall for our city at a higher level instead of leaving some folks behind because they never started out in a good place to begin with. That's the reason I'm running and look forward to seeing you on Election Day. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Rob Parker.
All right. My name is Rob Parker, and I'm running for school board. I'm a 1987 graduate of Texas Tech University. I'm a 30-year veteran in the banking industry. I have 3 children. My 2 oldest, the oldest one actually graduated from Texas Tech. She's a ER trauma nurse at UMC in Lubbock. My second oldest is going to be graduating next month from Texas Tech, and then she's going to be on to OT school. Then I have a 7th grader at Day Zavala. Where he's going to go, I don't know. I have a lovely wife over here, Mary. She's a retired broadcast journalist. She's also a substitute teacher. I serve on several boards. Right now I'm president of the board of the Texas Panhandle Regional Development Corporation. I also serve as chairman of the Amarillo Planning and Zoning Commission. One of the things I see that really needs to be addressed is the reading and math. I believe our kids need the attention on the reading, and just like Aaron said, they start out in some areas at a disadvantage, and we need to go ahead and improve on that and hire the people and hire the educators who have that specialty to really teach those kids and lay that foundation for them to go in and whether they graduate from high school on to college, or we need to go in with the trades. I think the trades are really important because through the question, through the AC, and I'm sure that'll hit with the city commission as well, is we need to get our foundation, our workforce foundation, to where we can start attracting companies, corporations into Amarillo and really help our kids in our AISD. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a lot of paper over here, so you get a minute for your response. We're going to try to get down the line. We'll just start with Mr. Parker first.
Yes.
Unless somebody else just want to grab that, right? But that'll make it nice and easy to go down the line. So we've had a couple of questions that kind of are similar. So this one is, what are your thoughts on arming teachers?
My thoughts on arming teachers is no. I'd rather have, just like we do right here, either off-duty or on-duty officers in place. If you look at the what's happened around this country, and I hate to see that it's ever happened to begin with, a lot of times people who are doing that get their arms from somebody they know who got it legally. I really don't see that, you know, I pray to God that never happens, and that AISD or any school district in the country has to deal with that. That's a disalarming thing that I see. It's just bad socially.
I'm kind of echo what Rob said. I disagree with it as well. I think, my wife's a teacher, and I cannot imagine the enormous responsibility that I would be placing on her by asking her to carry a firearm in her classroom. The amount of training that goes into just being a teacher is overwhelming in a lot of ways. And if you're going to be proficient at using a firearm, that requires a lot of time and a lot of training. I like using my weapons, and having hunting and doing all those things as well, but I don't think the classroom is a good place for it. And I don't think it's a good place for my wife to do as well.
Well, might as well be different. I don't have a problem with the concept. The problem I would have would be the implementation and who would be in charge of that. I think it would have to be under the direction of the local police chief. With the police come to the school, they need to know who's armed and who's not. The training involved would be much more necessary than get a licensed carry, but maybe not quite as much as what a police officer would have to have. But obviously somewhere in between. But I think those questions needs to be addressed, and that program would need to be addressed by an expert like the police chief and not someone in the school system.
Well, as I stated in my introduction, we have very smart, highly intelligent, very well-paid teachers. They need to be paid even better, if you're asking me. But however, I state that I don't think that that's a good thing to do. I think that we should allow the teachers to be the paid professionals that they are, be smart about that, and not have to worry about or concentrate on having to use a firearm. As someone that used a firearm for a living in the United States military, I know how difficult that is and how much training that takes, and I just don't think that it's the place in the school system to be trying to teach a teacher to do that as well as teach our kids. Again, we have smart teachers. The most important thing is these teachers have to give us the background for our future, which is through our children. So we have to provide them with those things so that we can be better and so that this economy can continue to thrive. Because I believe a direct link to a thriving economy in any city is a good public education through teachers.
I'm going to go ahead and stand because I feel that this is a very important issue, not only for our district, but districts throughout the state and throughout the nation. And I can assure you that your current Board of Trustees takes this to the utmost importance with your child's safety, their security, and we want to ensure emergency preparedness for all our students, our staff, and our visitors. And so, thank goodness that you all approved the 2017 $100 million bond election. And a component of that bond election that passed was to ensure security and access to the school district, to the campuses. So you may be seeing some construction going on at some of our campuses where we are installing bulletproof glass, where we are reorientating some of the driveways so you can actually drive up in a circle drive to drop your kids off.
I think it's a terrible idea. I'm going to echo some of the things these guys have said. First of all, the training involved is extensive to have someone be proficient with a firearm. We have in our bond, thankfully, provided for bulletproof glass on the exterior doors, and Amarillo ISD has been very proactive in training our teachers in best practices should an event like this occur. I'm not going to go into that because, y'all, we don't have very much time. But I cannot imagine being a teacher and being asked to possibly turn a gun on one of my students. We have a very good police department in this town with great response times, and I trust them to take care of the situation.
Thank you. All right, I have a few questions that sort of all dealt with this. And so it says, how do you propose to fix the governance problems? And these are specifically referencing things, board members' interference with coaches and teachers. So you knew that one was coming, y'all, okay? Everybody's groaning about that, but okay.
I'm going to speak up on this because this is something that I have been battling for the last couple of months. And I want you all to know that I have had several conversations with our superintendent, with our legal counsel, and I've actually taken it a step beyond that. I have had several conversations with TASB Legal. And this last, as we were preparing for the agenda, I had several conversations with concerned citizens. Many of you reached out to me. And I want you to know that I'm listening to you loudly. And so I had requested for next week's meeting that there would be included a board agenda for us to have a discussion. Well, our board president contacted me a couple of days ago informing me that they were denying our request to have that conversation, but they were going to postpone it to a later meeting, is what I was told. So I just want you all to know that you do have a member of the Board of Trustees that is out there advocating for you all, for all our students and our staff.
Thank you.
So real quick, I talked about this past weekend, and I'll say to you guys, so I feel like there should have been a lot more communication with that situation. I think legally there's probably some issues out there that's keeping the board from actually answering any questions on that. I wholeheartedly agree that situation, the rumors that we've heard, because I don't think me or any of us up here really know other than John what actually really happened. So I'll just say this. Whatever happened shouldn't have happened. I know playing time should be between the player and coach, but however, I want to say, and please do not take me lightly, I don't mean to make light of the situation, but that situation affects about 35 kids. We still have about 35,000, 36,000 kids out there that make up AISD. Let's figure out how not to let this situation happen again, but let's move forward and put the focus back on the other 35, 36,000 kids that make up AISD. And let's not get bogged down on this situation. Let's figure it out, let's get past it, and let's move on.
We've been asked that quite a bit, but the problem is we don't know any of the details. And so it's kind of hard to respond on what you would do if you don't know the details. If I was a board member, I would know the details, but we just don't know the details. I do think that the school board should be a little more transparent, and they need to deal with it. And I don't know what they need to do, but they need to just quit ignoring it and deal with it. I'd also echo your position that we have, it's a bad situation, but in the big picture of things, it just covers a small amount of kids compared to the whole city of Amarillo. And we got to be careful getting bogged down on something 90% of our time on 1% of the issue. And so I don't know what we would do because we don't know the details.
I guess we're standing up for this round. It's hard to know what the deal is because the board is actually very restricted in what they can find out. You can't just have an open discussion about this. You can't just go on a fact-finding mission on your own. That's not how the board works. That's not how board governance works. It's very difficult to go out and do an investigation on your own and find out what this is as a board member because it's against the rules. You just can't do it that way. In terms of talking about the other issues that face the district, there's a ton of issues that face the district beyond the volleyball coach. I think the main crux of the issue is not so much what happened to a volleyball coach that, for all accounts is very well liked. I think it's ensuring that things like this don't happen in the future to other coaches and other teachers. And so that's part of what needs to be dealt with, and part of what we need to accomplish is just setting a tone of fairness and open communication between administrators and our faculty and parents. And that's really what this issue is all about, and we just don't have a good way to deal with that.
I'm going to echo what several of the candidates did say. When you're dealing with HR issues, you really got to walk the fine line on that. It needs to be kept quiet regarding HR issues. It can't be really put out in the public, or you're going to risk getting a lawsuit slapped on you. I do think there should be some type of investigation on it. I also feel like, and again, you're coming from a dad who had 2 daughters play club volleyball. And I've seen it. I've seen how parents get and all that. But again, like Alonzo said, it only affects a small amount of kids, and we need to really focus on the overall goal of the AISD, and that's educating our kids.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I'll stand up too. I think everybody's about covered it. We don't know what happened. We don't have facts, so we can't really make a judgment on what happened. It only affects a small proportion of our student body, and we have big issues. We have large problems in this district that need to be faced and handled, and this is kind of a distraction from actually addressing those issues. What I do want to say is what struck me about the situation was the way teachers and parents kind of grabbed onto it. So that is indicative to me that there is a cultural issue in our district of teachers feeling supported, and that's something that we need to address, but that goes through every area, athletics, academics, and those things need to be addressed. I think that covers it.
Thank you all. All right, Ann, do we have any time left? One more question? A short question, okay. I don't know, have you seen my stack over here? Let my screeners give me the short one. Okay. Okay. Well, these are kind of both together. So one is about, are there plans to give the teachers a pay raise, since they are the most important part of the education system? And then the other part talks about making sure our tax dollars are used prudently. So how about addressing that, tax dollars and teacher pay raise?
I ain't scared.
What are the plans? What are the plans? They both say things about plans. Okay.
All right. So I think, again, as I stated, the teachers, the principals, the entire faculty is very, very important and vital to this economy here. Again, as I stated, there's a direct link to what I call a thriving economy, and so a good public education. And so it's invaluable. It's very important, I feel like, that we make sure that we can maintain being competitive in our district, what our teachers pay, as well as our principals pay as well. We need to make sure that we stay competitive in that, so that not only it's a place that we want our kids to go here, us citizens, but people in Dallas, Houston, and other places say, hey, wow, that is a wonderful district, that Amarillo area. I think I want to move my family. I want to pick my family up and move to that area. And then also our teachers, we want them to feel like, wow, I feel so loved and blessed to have a job to lead students in this community. So I think it's very important that we do that. And then also our tax dollars, we don't want to blow the budgets, but also it's important that we maintain competitiveness in this district with pay and salary.
Of course, I would love to give every teacher in the district a huge raise, obviously, but we are constrained by our budget. Our enrollment has been in decline the past several years by about 700 students in the past 3 years, which means about $4.2 million less in revenue. And so that puts a crimp on your budget. What I really think is important to note is that in the area, AISD does have one of the highest teacher pay scales. That doesn't mean they don't deserve a raise. We need to look at our paraprofessionals, though. It is more advantageous to be employed by Target or Chick-fil-A now than it is to be a paraprofessional in Amarillo ISD. And we want the best people working with our kids, not passing out chicken sandwiches. So we need to address that. And if you really want more money for your schools, call your state legislators and put the pressure on them, because they're the ones making the decisions about funding for schools.
Amarillo ISD is one of the largest employers in our area. We've got close to 5,000 employees in all. And Kimberly is exactly right. Our teachers are our greatest asset, but also are our paraprofessionals, our auxiliary staff. And so we need to make certain that every single person within our district makes a livable wage, so that our teachers and our auxiliary staff aren't having to work 1, 2, 3 jobs, living paycheck to paycheck. Now, in regards to the budget, I can tell you, the tax rate, I can tell you that we are at $1.08, and our INS is at a 0.15, making our total tax rate $1.23. And to me, that's very lean. We operate a very lean operation. And so Kimberly is exactly right that we need to hold our state legislatures accountable. and we need to make certain that they hear us whenever we tell them that they need to fund public education adequately.
Okay, regarding the state, I think the state did approve a $1,500 raise for the teachers just recently. Is that enough? Probably not. If you look at our tax rate here, you look at your property tax here at Potter County, my tax bill, I pay half of my tax bill goes to AISD. So the budget is constrained right now, again, with 5,000 employees. But again, I believe there is still money out there through the state. And again, it's talking to your legislatures, just like John said, to getting them to increase the amount they give per child. That would be really beneficial, and we could really use that for the teachers.
My wife's a teacher, so yeah, send it all my way. That'd be great. So, yeah, I would love to just be able to, every teacher should get just the most that we can possibly give them. I mean, we're asking them to take our children and get them ready for the rest of their lives and make them successful adults. That's a huge job. So yes, they should be paid as well as we can possibly pay them. But we do have budget issues. We are constrained by the budget. Payroll is probably one of the, if it's not the largest part of the total budget, it's really close. So it's a huge part of AISD's budget. And so we do have those limitations, and we do need to find ways to, increase that, as well as going through our state legislatures and figuring out ways. Most of our money comes from the state to begin with. It's a lot more that comes from the state than it comes from local tax revenue. So the more that we can get and allocate towards our teacher salaries, then I think the better off we're going to be and the more competitive we're going to be in attracting excellent teachers and continuing good education.
Yeah, as he said, about 55% there, plus or minus a couple points, comes from the state, a couple points comes from the Fed. So locally, we fund around, 45% thereabouts. But yeah, we need to have our teachers have to be paid commensurate with the industry, and we'd like to be at the top of the industry. And whatever that takes, is that what we need to do. I do think from a budget standpoint, obviously I'm not on the board, but I'd like, if I get on the board, I'd like to look at some of the ancillary expenses we have, the busing and our occupancy cost and on and on and on and on and on. I spent 30 years keeping the belt tight and trying to run a business, and there's always the places you can cut. But no, I don't think we ought to be cutting on the teachers, because we have to have we have to be able to get the good teachers and keep the good teachers, whatever that entails. I've never voted against a bond issue, and I probably pay more property taxes than anybody up here because I'm in the real estate business. And I'm not for a tax increase at all, but by the same token, you're going to fill your car up with gas, you got to pay whatever it takes to get it full.
All right. Thank you, IASD candidates. All right. Our last group. Okay. All right, our next group, we will have City of Amarillo Mayor. And I'll let someone will pick up that mic right there. That would be awesome. Or you can both have a mic. Perfect. All right, so the same thing. I'll let you turn on your microphones. You just kind of push that button up on the top, and it will take a second and come on. Just to review, you have 2 minutes to introduce yourself, and then we'll have 10 minutes of questions from the audience. Did you get it?
I think so.
Okay. All right. We'll go with the order here. So first up is Claudette Smith.
Okay, my name is Claudette Smith, and I'm running for mayor. I am a lifelong resident of Amarillo, and I am a small business owner, I'm a mother of 2 wonderful children. I initially became interested in local politics due to an ordinance violation or several ordinance violations that were affecting me directly. I began attending the council meetings approximately a year ago to try to address those issues, to try to get them resolved. But after a few months of attending, I couldn't help but notice all of the other issues that were happening in our city that felt so much more important to me than the issues that I was dealing with myself. I was witnessing skyrocketing taxes and homelessness and animals being wrongfully euthanized and just several different things that were happening, and I just felt that I needed to stick around and kind of fight for everyone. And so ever since, that's what I've been doing. I feel strongly that I disagree with a lot of how this current mayor and council are doing things, so I just kind of want to step in and try to do things differently. I am a small business owner, I think I said that, and prior to that, I was in the legal field for several years. Trying to think if there's anything else. I lose my train of thought when I get nervous. I guess that's about it. Let you go.
Thank you. All right, and Ginger Nelson, the incumbent.
Welcome to all of you. Thank you for giving part of your evening tonight to come and be informed about what's happening in our city elections. I'm Ginger Nelson. My husband, Kevin, is here supporting me tonight, and I'm very grateful to have had the chance to serve our city as its 33rd mayor. In the last 2 years, we've prioritized public safety by adding 22 police officer positions, 5 firefighter positions. We've renewed the 911 system and spent millions of dollars in increased funding to make Amarillo safer. The goal should be for Amarillo to be the safest city in the United States, and if elected, I'll continue to work toward that. We need to continue to work on developing our economy and bringing jobs to Amarillo, and they should be good-paying jobs. Working on our workforce is an important part of that. Partnering with Amarillo College and our school districts is an important part of that. So many things that are happening in the city of Amarillo. We have tremendous positive momentum. Whether it's the ballpark and the new baseball team, whether it's downtown revitalization, the work that we are doing with students at the Amarillo College level with the Thrive program, students who can go to college free of cost for 2 years in our city and further their education. We have tremendous momentum moving in our city right now. And I think that's a good thing. I think we need to keep moving forward in it, and I think we need to get as far with it as we possibly can. So I hope that I'll have your support to continue doing that work on May 4th. Thank you.
All right, so we will kind of go in backwards order. So Mayor Nelson, will let you answer this first. What improvements as mayor do you intend to make to the animal control department?
Well, we've already added to the budget. We added $200,000 in this last budget cycle so that we could improve the spay and neuter clinic at the city. So now every animal adopted through the animal shelter is spayed or neutered. What we need most is your help in the city. We need for citizens to take responsibility and talk with their friends and neighbors about spay and neutering their pets. We have a terrible pet population, overpopulation problem in our city, and we're working hard to make changes. But what we need are for citizens to get behind being responsible pet owners and helping their neighbors be responsible pet owners.
Thank you. Same question. What improvements as mayor do you intend to make to the animal control department?
Okay, so I do agree that there is a problem right now with the spay and neutering of the pets. However, I think the biggest issue in me listening to the citizens speak is that there needs to be more oversight at our animal welfare management department, because we're having a lot of issues with animals being wrongfully euthanized, family pets that were accidentally euthanized because they were mistaken for a different pet. A lot of folks talk about having a no-kill shelter. A no-kill shelter is simply just a shelter that has a 90% live release rate. And really, we don't need a new shelter. That's all we need is a new attitude and employees that will work with the pet rescue departments to save the adoptable pets.
Thank you. All right, the next question, I'll let you start, Ms. Smith. What will you do to restore citizens' freedom of speech at city council meetings and a more reasonable hour to attend the meetings?
Okay, so as far as the time that the council meetings are, it used to be at 5 o'clock, but then it was changed to 7 a.m., and now it's at noon. I personally feel that noon is a difficult time for people who are working to be able to attend to participate in our city business. So ultimately, I've said this thousands of times, but I feel like the citizens should decide what time the council meeting should be changed to so that a large majority of Amarillo can come and participate in our city business. The way I think we would do that is conduct several town halls throughout the city to find out what the citizens want. But I think probably 6 p.m. in the evening would be a good time. I think we should extend the public comment forum speaker time per speaker. Right now it's at 3 minutes. And I feel as though it needs to be a lot longer in order for someone to get a comprehensive message across to their elected official. That line of communication between the citizens and the elected officials is very vital.
Thank you. Mayor Nelson, would you like me to repeat it?
No, I think I have it. Thank you. We have a lot of positive momentum happening in the city, and some of that momentum comes behind opening different communication channels to the citizens. We, in our digital world, have lots of ways to communicate today. We have Facebook, we have private messages, we have email. Still, you can call the mayor's office and make an appointment. Public comment is just one way that citizens come and bring their ideas to city leadership. So the fact that you come at a certain time may seem limited because there's only that time every week, but the truth is we live in a world where we have tremendous opportunities to communicate, and we have lots of different ways to communicate with our city leadership. There is no perfect time. There's no one time of day that works for everyone. And traditionally in the city, those meetings have started at 3 o'clock. When you go back, I've pulled all the meeting times. When you go back and look for years and years and years, the most common time was 3 p.m. That was during the workday also.
All right, thank you. The next question has to do with homelessness. It says, if elected, will you be extending the Coming Home program for Amarillo's homeless?
Yes, I hope to. I'm very proud of this work. Again, we're moving in a great direction with this program. To date, it's been in place for 4.5 months, and we are helping 44 different people with housing. Many of those people also have jobs. Some of them are getting medical treatment that they haven't had in years. So this is a very important program that the city is using, and I'm very excited to report that we're using federal funds to back most of the cost of it. And we think that next fall we'll be able to add to those funds maybe as much as $500,000, depending on how good our results are in the next few months. And the last thing I want to report about it is we're hoping by July 4th to have ended all veteran homelessness here in Amarillo. We're whittling that down, and we have a list of those people. We're being intentional about every week addressing veterans on that homeless list. And the goal is by July 4th to declare Amarillo homeless free for veterans.
Thank you. Do you need me to repeat the question?
No,
Okay.
I think I have it. Okay, so I think that the Coming Home program, from what I can tell, is a great program, and I do hope to extend that program. However, I feel like there's a lot more that we could do in the way of homelessness, and frankly, I don't believe that homelessness will ever be solved, but we can do what we can do within our means to drastically reduce homelessness. But yes, I would like to expand on that program and add more programs onto that and committees to help assist with the homelessness and all of the things that come along with it.
All right, thank you very much. Do we still have time, Ann? Yes. Okay, so this one is specifically, I have two. We have one specifically for Mayor Nelson and one specifically for Ms. Smith. So this one is for Mayor Nelson. It's very long. It says, according to Neighborhood Scout, when compared to communities of similar population, Amarillo's crime rate per 1,000 residents stands out as higher than most. Within Texas, more than 97% of the communities have a lower crime rate than Amarillo. This is so alarming and must be corrected. Specifically, as the current mayor, what are you doing or will do about our outrageous crime rate?
We've done a lot to address this. Safety is one of the most important priorities for any city, because you can't grow your business, you can't raise your kids if you don't feel like your city is a safe place to live. So we've added millions of dollars of spending, including $2 million to improve our 911 system. We've added 22 police officer positions in the last 2 years. We had equipped all of our police officers with body cameras to make them safer and more accountable in doing their jobs. We rolled out new radios for the police department and other first responders in our city, so it's extremely important, and we need to continue to prioritize that as a need, work with our police department, work with the county and the DA's office on speeding up prosecution of existing cases, doing everything we can to attack those areas, especially those crime statistics like DWI and our domestic violence issues.
Thank you. All right, and this question, it says, Ms. Smith, what jobs do you think we need to help build the Amarillo economy?
You know, I haven't done a lot of research on that as far as what particular industries that we would need to grow. I think probably technology area, absolutely. But I think there's always room for growth. I believe that it's not always about recruiting companies to move here or creating Fortune 500 ideas. Sometimes it's just about the small things. Sometimes it's just about making sure that the things in your neighborhood or your community are taken care of. But absolutely, growth is always important. And no, I have not done the research as to what jobs we need to attract here, but we need to be able to lower our crime rates and lower our business taxes and our property taxes in order to entice people to want to move here, to create those jobs.
All right, thank you. All right, Ann, how we look for time?
Time's up.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to have all of the council member candidates come down for all of the places. I'll let you individually, for each place, introduce yourself, and then we will ask questions as a whole group. I was going to say, pick up that phone there. And if one of you towards the other end would like to pick up that microphone right there, then you don't have to do so much passing. All right, so we'll start, how we'll start at this end, and we'll go down. Let's start with place, council member place 1, Elaine Hayes, the incumbent.
Good evening. I'm Elaine Hayes, and I am currently serving in Amarillo City Council Place 1. I have lived in Amarillo almost 34 years. My husband is sitting back here supporting me this evening. We are celebrating our 34th wedding anniversary this May. We have 4 children, 3 boys and a daughter. Our oldest 2 are married. Our oldest son and his wife actually live here in Amarillo, and so 2 of our grandchildren are here in our city limits as well. Our daughter is married and lives down in New Braunfels, has a little boy, and is expecting a daughter this fall. So we are entering this new season of grandparenting that has just been a delight. We have 2 younger sons. One is working in Dallas, and the other one is attending tech in Lubbock. So I am a certified financial planner, and my husband is a CPA, and we have had a financial planning practice together for the last 25 years. It is one of the areas that drew me into wanting to run for city council, to be able to use those private business experience and skills in the public sector. The 2 things that I have really focused on the last 2 years has been dealing with the budget. I serve on the audit committee, and being sure that we are prioritizing our dollars and living within our means. I have also worked on economic development within our city, primarily through sales tax. I have helped create the program, the By the Way program, which was reminding our community how vital our sales tax collections are to our general fund. fund. And so we all talk about wanting to keep our property taxes lower. One of the ways we encourage that or able to keep that spigot turned off is encouraging those sales tax that provide 33% of our general fund. I would just like to say that it has been a delight the last 2 years serving. It is very rewarding, and I would love another 2 years of that opportunity. Thank you.
Hayden Pedigo.
Hi, my name is Hayden Pedigo. I'm running for City Council Place 1. I'm 25 years old, making me one of the younger candidates running this time. I've lived in Amarillo my entire life. I love living in this incredible part of Texas. The reason why I decided to run for Amarillo City Council is I believe Amarillo utilizing an at-large government combined with low voter turnout is the reason that our city is only progressing for some, and a lot of areas are being left out of the discussion. I believe that having a mayor and 4 council members represent at large nearly 200,000 residents is going to leave a lot of people out of the discussion. Amarillo is a very diverse, unique place, and we're utilizing a form of government that's an antique. We've outgrown it, and we should switch to have better representation. Another reason why I'm running is I believe that Amarillo's youth is not involved in our local government. They don't know what's going on, and I want to see more of that engagement. Nearly 40% of Amarillo's population is under the age of 30 out of 200,000, which is astounding. And I want to know where they're at. And I want to be an example to them to get involved. I didn't go to college. I was the type that it was a little tough for me finding out where to go career-wise in Amarillo without a college degree. I ended up going into the banking industry, but I'm passionate about finding job growth for Amarillo residents under the age of 30 without a college degree and learning how to utilize that demographic, specifically with trade industry type jobs. I want to say thank you to the League of Women Voters of Amarillo for having us tonight, and I would really appreciate your vote on May 4th. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have Richard Herman? Jay Kirkman. Okay. So we're going to move on to Councilmember Place 2, Treva Harper.
Hi, how are y'all doing this evening? Thank y'all for having us out here. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to everyone. And as you know, my name is Treva Harper, and I'm running for Amarillo City Council Place 2. And people always ask me, what made you want to run? And the thing that really got me thinking about running was just something that happened to me a couple of years ago. Is I lived over in San Jacinto off behind the strip mall on Western, and I was walking down 6th Street, dressed casually, t-shirt, blue jeans, and a gentleman tried to pick me up because he thought I was a prostitute. And when that happened, I realized that we had a problem in Amarillo. You know, we need to address this issue because that's human trafficking, and human trafficking has no place in civilized society. And that's something that I'd really like to work on. I'd really like to address that. And we need to get our police officers focused on that issue because it's a very important issue, because human trafficking in the form of prostitution is absolutely slavery. And that is unacceptable, and it cannot happen. And we have to put a stop to it as much as we possibly can. So that's something I'd very much like to address. And other things that I was interested in and looking at is was watching the city council and the things going on in the city. And I was a little unhappy about the way things were going. I kind of felt like it was kind of skewed one way and that certain things were happening that didn't include all of Amarillo. And I'd like to work on the north side of Amarillo from the east to the west. There's so many things we could do in that part of town. We can lift the communities up. We can do things to help businesses develop. We can help people who want to start a business. We can do renovations and encourage different programs and different ideas and different concepts to get people to renovate their homes, their empty buildings, and things of that nature. And so I really want to work on the north side of town and get the things that we can do to make that better. And I'm always looking to hear from people for ideas and suggestions. And I want to be the voice of the people in City Hall. So I always want to hear what people have to say. And I love talking to people and hearing the different ideas, because even if I don't agree with them, it can still take me in a new direction and give me ideas that maybe I hadn't thought about. And then that's what I'm going to take back to City Hall if I win, is the energy from the people and the ideas from the people. Thank you.
Thank you. Freda Powell.
Thank you. I want to say honor and glory always given to God, who's the head of my life. And so it is a pleasure to be here with you all today, and appreciate the League of Women Voters for inviting us to speak. I am Freda Powell, the incumbent for Place 2. And I grew up here in Amarillo for a very short period of time. My father was in the Air Force. And so from there we moved to Fairbanks, Alaska, and I've lived in England, Germany, Guam, just all over. So I'm very proud of that because it gives you the ability to be able to adapt to different backgrounds, cultures, and be able to work with anyone, and anyone that you come in contact with. Anyway, so I ran for city council because I was not happy with the direction that our city was moving about almost 4 years ago now. So I wanted to see if I could get on board to help to improve our streets and our public safety. That was my main focus right there in trying to work with the community. Also, I had spent a lot of time with downtown Amarillo Inc. and trying to revitalize downtown. So I wanted to move that forward so we could start the conversation on the momentum, the development, and push that out into the established and older neighborhoods. And so as you all know, we kicked off the North Heights neighborhood plan, which was the previous council that actually kicked that off, and then we went and moved on to the Barrio and then also San Jacinto. So I just want to continue the work that we are doing here in Amarillo on the different programs, different projects. 2 years is just not enough to get it done. So I would appreciate you all allowing me the honor and privilege to continue the work that this current council has started. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to move on to Council Member Place 3, Brad Torch.
I just want to start by saying thank you to the League of Women Voters for having us out tonight, and thank you to all of you for showing up. It's great to have voters that are concerned about what's going on in the community. So my name is Brad Torch. I'm running for place number 3. I decided to run because I moved to Amarillo about a year and a couple months ago, and I'm a problem solver. And I looked around and I saw this beautiful, beautiful city and wonderful people, and it just has so much potential, but we're not quite there yet. And I just see so much that we can do with this city. What makes me different is that I don't have relationships with elite. I go to work every day. I have kids that I take to school every day. I go paycheck to paycheck sometimes. Just a regular average Joe, I guess you could say. I stand for transparency and accountability. And that's what I want to bring to the city council. I want to make sure that we are transparent as a city and that we have a good relationship with the citizens of the city. I want to work on the north side of town, lifting up that side of town by bringing economic growth, getting some more businesses there, local businesses preferably. And I also want to lower the crime rate. We are currently 5th in the state in percent of crime, and the city claims to have added 22 new positions, but we haven't filled those positions. We do not retain and recruit fast enough to keep our police force full, and it hasn't been fully staffed since 2012, I believe. Right now, we're currently 30 down. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Tom Warren.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tom Warren, too. I'm running for Amarillo City Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. I'd like to start off by saying there's some really great people up here. And as far as Brad Torch is concerned, he and I may be running for the same spot, but there's nothing average about him. He's not an average Joe. So first off, I'd like to say I'm an Amarillo boy. I've been here my whole life, 45 years old. I have a local business here. I manage my own business. We've been here for a very long time. I'm a product of Amarillo schools, Amarillo education, AC, WT, the whole works. In fact, I met the love of my life, my wife, at senior English and an Amarillo school. So we've got one son, and he and I are business partners. But Amarillo is an exceptional place, and I love Amarillo. And there are so many things I want to do for Amarillo. I'll just start off by saying I'm a huge proponent of single-member districts. I think that is ultra important that we implement that. I'm a huge proponent of changing election times from
odd number years in May to even number years in November, I think that would be an exceptional thing. I think it would drive voter turnout. I think it would save us money. I'm a huge proponent of a no-kill shelter. Everybody wants to ask what is going to be your first thing that you want to do when you get in office. We want to talk about single-member districts. We want to talk about no-kill. So there are so many things that are going on in the city of Amarillo. We have so many opportunities to reach for the sky, but what we need to do is we need to take an outside look and see what we can do to do that. So I really appreciate it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. All right, and on to Councilmember Place 4, Stephen Rosas.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me tonight. I really appreciate the League of Women Voters. This is probably the largest turnout I've seen the entire campaign, and it's beautiful. You know, being raised in Amarillo my whole life by my mom and my grandmother, I know the influence that women have on everybody's lives, not just young men. But so I appreciate that. Thank y'all so much. As you know, I'm running for City Council Place 4. I'm a father to 5 brilliant children. That's one of the major influences in my run. I'm a husband to a beautiful wife as well. You know, and I say I'm a husband to her because she is like my backbone. She's the one that sends me out here, and she's actually the one that's at home watching the kids, so I can be out here, you know, doing the important work. Everything I have is centered around them. I'm running because I love and care about Amarillo, and it's my time to act. I'm for empowerment, compassion, and support for all Amarillo citizens. I'm for expanded community representation, accountability, and engagement in City Council. I believe we can make that happen by supporting a comprehensive evaluation of our 105-plus-year-old Amarillo Charter, starting with the addition of 2 more council members and developing a single-member district. Beyond and including a single-member district system, I'll move on because I've only got 30 seconds. I'm for expanding public comment and hearings to ensure for greater citizen representation with controversial issues. And I am for a strong, experienced, and healthy community for a thriving and prosperous local economy. And if you would have me, I would love to represent you and your family. Thank you very much, and y'all have a good night. Or here's Howard Smith.
Thank you. All right. Howard Smith, the incumbent.
Thank you. I'm Howard Smith. I've served in Place 4 on the City Council. I've been there the last 2 years and hope to be there the next 2 years. I want to introduce my wife, Carol, back here. Raise your hand. One important thing in 4 days, it's tax day, but it's also our anniversary. That's the most important thing. 52nd anniversary in 4 days. Thank you. I grew up here in Amarillo, went to Alice Landrigan Elementary, Wolfland Elementary, Austin Junior High, Amarillo High School, then went to Baylor University, got a bachelor's degree in math and physics and a master's of business administration. The draft was after me, so I joined the Navy to avoid the draft. Spent a little over 3 years in the Navy, served on USS Guadalcanal. Had wonderful experience there. Came back here and joined a family business called the Hub Clothiers. Worked there 10 years. Then I went into real estate. I'm still in real estate business. My platform is made up of 3 things. I want to increase economic development in Amarillo. I think we could do better. I hope we can get the veterinarian school. That'd be a big bonus for us. Then I want to improve the transit system. Growing up, my mother never did drive. She rode the bus here, there, and everywhere. And then last, I want to get the provide proper economic support for the police and fire department. That's very important to provide safety. So thank you, and vote for me for Place 4 City Council.
All right, same drill. We'll have a question, and you get 1 minute to answer that question. So the first question is, if elected, will you eliminate red light cameras and electronic parking meters? Who's going to start?
You want me to start? Perfect. We've studied the red light cameras, and I know there may be a law passed to eliminate that, but for now, they're allowed, and it's been shown that it reduces traffic accidents. So I would not be for reducing that at this time. What was your second part?
The second part was electronic parking meters.
We just started that a week or two ago, so it's too early to stop that. we have, since the ballpark opened, we're going to have parking problems around there, but it's been proven that there's plenty of parking spaces within 2 blocks of the MPEV for all the people that would go to the MPEV. And so I think we just got to get used to it. I learned to do it myself. It wasn't that hard. Use my iPhone. So,
thank you.
The parking or the street cameras, I think, like Howard Smith said, there are laws that are going to actually take them out of cities as big as Houston. They said, oh, excuse me.
Very dramatic.
They have said that they do reduce certain parking accidents, but they do actually increase other parking accidents, such as rear-ending. So I would be for removing those just because they're a waste of money at this time, especially if there's laws being passed against them. Our own, never mind, I'm not going to quote it because I don't want to I don't want to speculate. And then I'm against any sort of taxing for public services, which is parking on the street. But like Howard Smith said, we just started that. And so that would take probably a contract review or something like that.
Thank you.
Well, one of the first things that you need to realize is as an elected official, when you can't go in there and you can't say, I'm not going to do this, or I'm going to do this, or we're going to get rid of that. And the reason for that is because you're an elected official and you're not by yourself. You will be on a body with 4 other individuals that help share, and y'all will have to go ahead and y'all will have to create policies together. But as a rule, I don't think that the red light cameras are a good deal. It's been proven. It's something that's come up in the state. And like Stephen said, there's a good, decent chance that legislation will go ahead and take care of that. As far as the paid parking is concerned, I've never been a fan of the paid parking. The first parking meters came to Amarillo in 1941. They were pulled out in 1966. A lot of people have said that was due to the downturn of Amarillo. The truth of the matter is so many things were happening at that time, such as the air base was leaving and everything else. So I don't think it's beneficial, but I'm done.
Like Tom said, it's going to be a group decision, and it's going to take votes to get that done. I am not I'm not for the red light cameras. I've lived in 2 other locales that had them, and multiple states have found them unconstitutional. So yeah, I mean, if I had the opportunity to vote against them, I will. With the paid parking, I feel the same way. I think the fact that they are new, we probably have to give them a little bit of time, but I am definitely for finding innovative forms of revenue rather than penalizing our citizens to make money.
Well, I've thought about this, and I've got a lot of feedback from people on the red light cameras and the parking, mostly the parking. I've had a lot of comments from people about the parking. But as for the red light cameras, I've always kind of seen them as a cash grab, and I also think that they're if they're not unconstitutional, they're pretty dang close. So I'm kind of anticipating what the state's going to do on that, and if they want to do away with them, I'm perfectly fine with that, because I think that it's just a little kind of sketchy that you have to get a ticket for something that might not even been your car. I mean, you might not have been driving your car, and things like that. And as far as the parking meters go, it's not that I'm opposed to parking meters. I just don't really like how this whole thing's been implemented and the way it's been set up. A lot of cities have parking meters, but I'm not a fan. And like they said, it's a brand new program, so it's going to be kind of difficult to just stop it. But I would definitely like to review it, and if we could find a way to end it, then I would be for that.
So first, let me say I am for the red light cameras. So whether I am driving my car or not driving my car, or the invisible man is driving my car, which is my husband, I am for them because of safety first and foremost. So most of you all know that I really care about my shoes, and sometimes they get very heavy. And so I have gotten one of those tickets, and when they send it in the mail, it's hard to deny it. But I think that we should all use common sense and just follow the rules and don't run the red lights. I mean, because we can all be safe. It's just that simple. It is not hard.
I would like to see the red light cameras out of Amarillo. For one, the safety of them is greatly disputed. Beyond that, if you look at enforcing them in terms of payment, it's already shaky ground. It's a company out of Phoenix, Arizona. Beyond that, it's not a criminal offense. You're paying a company that's not even our state to enforce an offense that's not a criminal offense. It's indebting the citizens. They're not red light cameras. I call them yellow light cameras. They're not making anything safer. And with the downtown parking, again, we are indebting the citizens for something that used to be free. It's thrown on us at the last second, and again, nobody's was able to get up to date and educated on it. And even with it being an app, it's going to be harder for people that may not have a smartphone. But again, it's brand new, so good luck getting it ripped out right when it's been put in.
Related to the red light cameras, it took me a long time to determine my position on that. And I looked at a lot of data, locally and also nationally. And when we looked at the reduction in accidents that were occurring in those areas where we had the cameras, and we also looked nationally, it was addressed earlier that there was a concern when those were initially instigated that you would increase more rear end accidents. And the trade-off was that it reduced the T-bone, the side, the passenger side, which are much more critical injuries, that those are where you have more fatal injuries when people are going through a red light and get hit from the side, either from the driver or the passenger side. And so it reduced the type of accident as well as the number of accidents. And my number one factor was listening to our police chief here locally, who is the number one individual we have hired to provide safety for our citizens, who was strongly behind the support of retaining them. Thank you. I wanted to address
All right, thank you. Do we have time? Okay. So there were a lot of questions that had to do with suburban development and downtown and Southwest and Amarillo history and culture and San Jacinto area. This one sort of gets all that in one thing. So what are your plans for improvement in our town?
Can anyone jump on that?
Lots of different areas there, North Side, San Jacinto, that sort of thing. Okay.
I want to jump on this really quick. I think a lot of the communities, like if you look at San Jacinto, North Heights, Eastridge, a lot of the reason that those communities haven't been paid attention to for so long is it is a symptom of having an at-large government, which I think results in a lot of communities being left out. Because I think if you reference even the lake out at Martin Road, a lot of people didn't even know that that was a problem. And I said if you had single-member districts and somebody representing individual areas, there would be somebody representing it that would know the problems that relate to that area. So I think one of the reasons the Thompson Park Pool closed down is it's a problem that existed for years and was put off. So I think that having this form of government where people aren't being listened to, a lot of these problems get put off for decades, and then we're left with these low-income communities that get left out, and we don't have the money to fix the problems because they've been put off for decades.
Thank you.
Yeah, the north side of town is one of the areas I definitely want to work on. Of course, that also includes the southeast because it gets neglected too. And one of the things I want to do is I want to work on the infrastructure there, because it's not that we can't fix our roads, because some of our neighborhoods have really nice roads, but we need to fix all of our roads, and we need to address all of them in all of our communities and not just ignore parts of town because, well, we like a different part of town or whatever reason it is that people do that. And I'd like to work on the infrastructure and the roads, and I would need to reduce the crime. If we get the crime down and we can elevate the communities and do projects with them and engage with the people in those communities, have town halls in their communities, and then we can get people motivated so that they can communicate with us the things that they need to have done in their community. And then we could elevate all of the areas in whatever area whatever this particular area wants, that's what that particular area would get. And what this particular area wants, then that's what that particular area should get. You know, and it's not a one size fits all. We're gonna throw a park everywhere or put a swimming pool everywhere. That's not gonna fix everything for every place because maybe a community doesn't want a pool. Maybe they want something else. Thank you.
We have spent so much time, money, and energy working on our downtown that we have forgotten about the rest of the city. And, you know, starting with the north side, we have to start building the economy there, making it look better. We need to start putting more funding into our parks and recreation so that we don't have more issues like the Johnson Park, the pool. And so those are my main focuses. Obviously, infrastructure. Our roads need to be completely redone. We need to stop wasting money on doing them halfway. So that we have to do them again in 5 years. We need to totally shred them down and redo them. Where the money's going to come from, we got to work on that. But I just want it all fixed up. That's it.
Thank you.
So, to save myself time, exactly what Hayden said. And then what I would like to do is I would like for us all to remember that we have 3 plans going right now. We have a Barrio plan, we have a North Side plan, and we have a San Jacinto plan. So over the last 2 years, those things have been kind of pushed to the back burner. I would like to go ahead and bring those back up to center stage and start concentrating on those. We're never going to get anywhere if we don't actually, from a city standpoint, from a legislative part of the city, take an interest in the plan that we've already tried to push. So we need to re-engage on that, make a push on it. Secondly, I would like to see, I'm a huge fan of Route 66. I would like to see some expansion on that. I would like to see us move into Route 66. Thanks.
Thank you.
So I just want to continue the revitalization that we're doing in the older historic neighborhoods. And so the North Heights neighborhood plan was kicked off in 2016. And then also the Barrio plan was kicked off in 2017. And then we just recently kicked off the San Jacinto neighborhood program, and that was March 12th of this year. So we're actively working in all of those neighborhoods. And we just want to continue to move forward. Now, the neighborhoods didn't get this way overnight. I mean, it was 20 or 30 years that they have declined. And so it's going to take us a while to get developers and investors to come on board to want to develop in those areas. So we need all of you as citizens to be engaged and get involved and help push those plans, and so we can continue to be focused in doing so.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I will echo what Hayden said, and then I will echo what Ms. Freda Powell just said. We do have neighborhood plans in the works. There are citizens that are in these committees that are trying to help this out and make it move. And also this 20 or 30 years is because we have that single member or the at-large district problem. I want to get in there and be one of the representatives that is part of the solution, engaged to engage the rest of the community. A lot of people say change starts from your own backyard. And that's ultimately what we need to accomplish is have engaged representatives to engage the citizens.
Thank you.
Regarding what's been happening in downtown, we have done a lot downtown, and that's been about a 12 or 13-year plan to implement that. We just finished the third Catalyst project, and that's the ballpark. But the present council recognizes that there's other areas, and we have done things in other areas, as has already been mentioned. North Heights, Barrio, and San Jacinto, and Eastridge would be next to understand. And we want these areas to come up with what they want. It's not the city telling them what to do. We want citizens to go to the meetings and tell us what they want to do. So it's important. So we are working in other areas of town besides Amarillo. Thank you.
Thank you.
The downtown revitalization, I want to clarify, that's an area that is primarily private dollars. There is tax incentives that are used as an incentive to draw those businesses in, but it's private dollars, private-public partnerships. They make money that then we're able to use to go fund these neighborhood plans. That's where those dollars come from. We also, when we are looking to recruit outside businesses, one of the first things they look at is what does your downtown look like? Because they are not going to come here if they perceive that your city is dead or dying, and downtown is one of the first places they look. Secondly, as we are looking for future, and I think the question was, what do you want to do for the future? We're wanting to provide quality of life opportunities, and so it is revitalization, some of the structural things, but education, job opportunities, all of those are tied together, and it is part of our ability to recruit or the revitalization we're doing across the city.
Thank you. And I just wanted to make one other comment in regards to the neighborhood plans. We've allocated about $10 million to those plans already, and so we've spent about $7 million.
Okay, thank you. And are we okay with one more question? All right, everyone's good? All right. So, what is your plan to get younger generations more involved? Hayden's going to jump on that one. All right.
I want to lead by example. I think the hardest thing when you're a younger person is you ignore local government because, let's be honest, it sounds boring and you feel like it doesn't pertain to you. I want to lead by example because I've been telling my friends that we are the future generation of Amarillo. It should matter to us, and we should be saying what we want our city to become. So I think I want to lead by example and show that you can be a 25-year-old and run for city council. If you don't win, you're going to learn a lot, and it's going to show that you have beliefs in your city. But on the other hand, your city needs to believe in you. If you're a younger person, you need to feel like they're listening to your wants and your needs. If your city does, then you will have a more engaged youth population, but they want to feel like they are listened to. And that's where the indifference and the disengagement comes from, is if you don't listen to that demographic, they're going to become indifferent and aren't going to be involved. And I want to help get them involved.
One of the things that I've been doing is just staying active in our entire community, and that is when I do have the opportunity, I try to speak to all of the young students, young people in our community, to tell them about what we do, the decisions we have to make, what our roles are. But it's kind of like Mr. Pedigo said, it's really just leading by example and being a good citizen, law-abiding citizen, I might add, not running red lights. So.
Well, one of the things I'd like to do as far as getting the young people engaged is I want to make a city council that is engaging with the public. You know, we can get the people's voice, we can listen to the people, we can engage them, we can meet them in their communities, we can do things and listen to them, and whatever the suggestions they have, we can work on those things. You know, I mean, there's other things we're going to have to work on, infrastructure and paying the bills and all the mundane things that the city has to do. But we also need to do things that engage the public, get their opinion, and when they give us an opinion that's something that we can do, we need to make an effort to work on those things. And I think that'll help get the people engaged, and especially with the town halls and getting people's feedback and finding out what they want and working on as much of those things as we can to keep them engaged and show them that we care about their opinion.
Let me say, most of you here are of the younger generation. Just want to point that out. One thing that everybody needs to be aware of, we have about, I believe it's like 30-something committees. and people can apply to serve on those. And we welcome anybody to apply, at whatever age. And they apply, we try to appoint those all in November. And we've had many more people apply than we have positions. But you need to express that you're interested and apply. And even if you aren't appointed to a committee, you can attend the committee meetings. They're all open. And there's a time on each committee meeting to speak whatever you want to say to that committee. So take advantage of that.
We need to show young people the importance of being involved in the community. When I was a child, I don't think I missed one opportunity to go with my mom to the polls. I don't think I see that anymore. And I think as leaders of the community, we need to make the community feel like we care about them so that they get out to the polls and bring their kids with them. And we just continue a cycle so that everybody's involved in what's going on in our city.
Well, like Hayden said, we've got to get out there and lead by example. The younger generation, I still subscribe to that, even though I'm in my 30s. You know, I have gone out and sought service within the city. I have put in applications, and you know, my resume doesn't look like somebody that they want in one of their committees. You know, I can understand as a high school student, you know, if you put in for this committee, you're not gonna get in, and that's why I ran, because nobody can turn down that application except for y'all. And you know, that's the most important thing, is getting out there. And the what I've heard the most is, I'm voting for the first time because you're running. I'm voting for the first time because you're running, from hundreds of my friends, literally. And that's what it's going to take, is young, telling young people to run and supporting young people like Hayden to run.
Well, I think education is important. I think engagement is key. And the main thing, everything starts with engagement. And I'll have to give a hand up to my son. He was actually the youngest appointee ever to one of the municipal boards. So he served for 2 years. He just came off of his appointment. But the truth of the matter is that we need to promote that. In 2015, I actually proposed a plan to Animal Management and Welfare to extend interns and things like that for National Honor Society students, to try and go ahead and give those people a purpose, give them an education, give young people something to have skin in the game. And once they have a purpose, then they will come back to Amarillo. But I asked my son recently, I said, where do you want to go to school? He said, I'm not leaving home. He said, Amarillo is the greatest place in the world, so we need to show that to others.
Well, I think it is important to try and draw in every age group. And so I am excited about the outreach to that particular segment, but we need to be reaching out to our entire city. We still need participation, larger participation from every demographic and every age group, north, south, east, and west in our community. And one of the things, if we are still discussing specifically even that upcoming generation, I think it's really important that we are taking every opportunity to speak into their lives, to tell them that they have opportunities here, and then showing them what those steps are and letting them know as a community that we believe in them, that we believe that they have a God-given talent in each, every one of them, and that we as a community are surrounding them and giving them opportunities. And one of the best we are doing in a practical way is that Thrive program. It's not only, it's being able to speak to those kids. If you have a dream and you want an education, we as a community are going to help you pay for it.
All right. We would like to thank you, all of the candidates, for coming tonight. If you are a participant and you had a question that didn't make it up here onto our long list of questions, I'm sure that some of these ladies and gentlemen would be thrilled to speak to you. They also have items, brochures out there that you can pick up. We would like to say thank you to the League of Women Voters, and I can't think of a better way to end than with the discussion of going and voting. So please go vote.